Welcome to Matt Loves Eurovision. This is my Eurovision 2024 Grand Final preview. Please do click the subscribe button, ring that notification bell, like, share and comment below. So I'm recording this on the Friday morning, so the dress rehearsal and the jury show of the Grand Final are yet to happen. So this really is more a kind of a look at the running order, which was released overnight. I was not up for it, but I have seen it this morning, and so I will talk a bit through that now and what that might mean for the Grand Final and a few other bits and pieces around that. Firstly, though, a couple of things from that I didn't mention in my review or results review of semi-final 2. Firstly, I did say this was the first time we've had the three Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, reaching the Grand Final for quite some time. I wasn't sure exactly when, because I knew it wasn't. I didn't think it was 2016. Well, it was the year before. It was 2015. It was the last time that all three of the Baltic countries reached the Grand Final. Also, I forgot to mention kind of my own sort of group. We had a couple of my friends that watched it here at my place, and also a group of friends down in London, and a few other people, and a couple of people from Germany as well, who also participated in it. Switzerland was the winner by a country mile, a really, really clear winner in our voting. We also liked Netherlands and Austria and Georgia and Norway as well, but Switzerland had a huge gap between the first and second place there. So let's have a look at the Grand Final running order, and to make it easier, I'm not going to do it because just for ease of putting it on screen, I'm going to chop into 3 columns, because that's just how they've arranged it on the Eurovision app. So this isn't first half, second half, this is the 3 columns. So we look first of all to the first 10 songs of the Grand Final. And I should say is, as usual, there is a draw. You get drawn either in first half or second half by pulling it out of a hat or a bowl. There's also this year a significant number are called Producer's Choices, which allows Christer Bjorkman basically to put songs wherever in the order he would like to do so. So that's kind of where that comes, where that has come from this year. So we already knew Sweden was opening show. They, as the hosts, they kind of drew. They were not part of the Producer's Choice or anything like that. They had to draw out a ball to say where they were going to be, and they drew out number 1. So they will be opening the show. Now, probably the biggest, I think, of all of the choices that have been made in this Grand Final running order, the most controversial, the most notable is Ukraine being put in the death slot, as it's called, the second slot. No country has ever won from that second slot. Personally, I think we should have put Lorraine in the second slot last year in Liverpool to see, given it was such a huge favourite, to see it's like go on, win from there. Probably could well have done, I suspect, even with Garia. Ukraine were one of the favourites. They will undoubtedly get they should still get a big televote, I would have thought. But it's not that songs in place 2 can't do well. They might still do okay, but they don't usually win. In fact, the songs in the first 6 songs struggle to win. And then we have Germany straight after Ukraine. I think there was some commentary about how it it fitted, the terms of the staging kind of fitted quite well together. I'm not entirely sure. Germany obviously rarely gets many favours, and so yes, I think Germany might be all right, may get some jury points, but I'm suspecting maybe the televote's going to be quite low for it. Then we have the newbies, or the returners, I should say, Luxembourg. I think obviously they got rewarded with a really plum sort of a spot in the semi-finals. They've now been rewarded with not such a good spot in the Grand Final. So it's you win some, you lose some. I think the objective was to get Luxembourg back into the final, and that has been achieved. And then we have another of kind of the televote favourites, which are the Netherlands. I don't know whether this means that now they say that they don't see the results of the semi-finals, but I think I cannot believe that is true. So I think there's a potential reason why we have Netherlands here so early on. I think it was still going to get a big chunk of the televote. You can of course vote from the moment of the start. I don't think this is going to be the televote winner after all this year. And then we have kind of what has obviously been talked about a lot on social media at the moment is obviously Israel's both participation and their qualification. And there were a lot of rumours, or there's been something that's come out suggesting that the Italian televote, gave a huge, 40% of it were voted for Israel. We don't yet know at the time of recording whether that is actually, those are accurate figures. I think that sent a lot of people into sort of concern about what might happen in the grand final. I think people perhaps are slightly overreacting. Italy often has a slightly odd, different way of voting to a lot of other countries, and also, viewing figures are lower for semi-finals as well. So if you have some people that are really, really big fans of the song and want to do it well, it's easier to do that in a semi-final than a grand final. That said, Israel has risen second in the betting now. It's overtaken Switzerland. However, Croatia is still quite a long way ahead. Now, I suspect what the producers are doing are putting Israel pretty early to possibly get it out of the way, and also maybe suck some of those televote points, particularly with Ukraine and Netherlands around there, to sort of just minimise what that might happen there, because I feel that the EBU will not be wanting to have an Israeli victory this year. So then we head to Lithuania. So from 7 onwards, these early ones are still not perhaps less likely to win, but these are starting to get into fairly reasonable positions. So we have Lithuania, we have another of the automatic qualifiers, Spain, Estonia, and then of course the extremely arresting Ireland with Bambi Thug, which will be extremely memorable. Now, that's not quite the first half, because we're now going to look at the second column and the remainder of the first half that is in that second column. So if I just bring that up now, you will see that Latvia, which was the great surprise, probably the biggest surprise qualifier, I think, of all, they 11th spot is pretty good. People have won from 11th quite frequently. However, I think it's been put right after Ireland, and I think that. Well, it's either a great contrast, because people that like Latvia may not like Ireland and vice versa. But yes, that may not be ideal for Latvia, but they're probably just happy to be there. Then we have Greece and Round, who drew first half, and also UK drew first half. Both of those two drew first half rather than producer's choice, and it's interesting to see that the producers have put Greece and the UK right at the latest they can be in the first half, and I think that is probably trying to do them a favour. I think for Ollie, United Kingdom being in the 13th, that is not bad at all. As I say, it's as late as you can be in the first half of the final. Followed by Norway, another big song, Italy, and then we've got an interesting group here: Serbia, Finland, and Portugal. So you have 2 of the most artistic, beautiful ballads in the contest. And in the middle of that, you have the biggest funny song, which is Finland, which is played a lot for jokes. It is actually funny, though, as I said, we laughed out loud. So that's going to be very interesting, because I don't think it actually harms. Some people will question that, and I think you've tried to keep Serbia and Portugal apart a bit, I would suspect, but having Finland kind of put them apart, it seems to be quite effective. I think that's actually a pretty good placing for Portugal, because immediately after Portugal you have the very upbeat and ethnic Armenia. So I actually think Portugal's going to stand out for people that want to like that. So I think that's not a bad running order at all for Portugal. And then we have Cyprus at 20th. And then we move into the final the second half of the second half. And this is often where you sometimes get some of the favourites placed. And indeed, that's exactly what we see here. So in 21st place, one of the big favourites is Switzerland. And then poor Slovenia, who've done really well to get to the final. Much like last year, they're getting sandwiched amongst the favourites, because they come just before their neighbours, Croatia. And of course, Croatia is the big favourite, still the big favourite, even with some of the stuff that's been going on in the last few hours following the second semi-final. And I think my feeling is the producers are trying to give Croatia and Switzerland as well the best chance they can of winning. Georgia is rewarded for its return in a really good slot. And then France, which is people's tip to win the jury, although I still think it's between France and Switzerland for jury. And also some people's tip to win overall. I'm slightly less convinced by that because I'm just not sure will get quite enough to tell about. But it's been given a good slot though, so I think France is looking good for a very high placing. Maybe not quite as high as Voila, but certainly could well be top 5, I think, easily. And then we're rounding off with a big party banger, Austria. So there have been some choices made in this running order. We can read into a lot of those, what those are. Some people say Ukraine's been put in second because they don't really want another Ukrainian win, given that we probably would not be able to host in Ukraine next year and all of that sort of things. That potentially, maybe, I don't know. Yes, it is a bit of a rum place for Ukraine, but I think they have strength that they will still get a good result anyway. So yes, it's going to be an interesting final. From my own perspective, I would really like Croatia to win. I also would be very happy with Nemo for Switzerland winning. I think either of those two I'd be very happy with, and I'd also obviously be very happy if Ollie and the United Kingdom did well. I hope people appreciate the really dramatic staging, the great staging that they've done, and the tweaks they've done to the song as well, perhaps to sort of try and elevate it for Eurovision. But yes, we shall see. Could be for an interesting evening. Of course, as always, do let me know what you think in the comments. I will not be back immediately on Sunday after the grand final. It will be probably Monday evening because I'm going away. I'm going away for the weekend to watch the final with my friends down in London. I won't have my editing software. I'm not able to use my editing software while I'm down there. I'll take my kind of ring light and all that kind of stuff that I might need to record. So we'll just have to wait till I'm back. And it'll allow for a couple of days of cogitation of the results as well. But we'll see you the other side and enjoy the final. Take care.